Oh, spoiler alert. This host is a piece of complete doo-doo. And is summoned. Hey, guess what? I'm going to take you on this 20-minute invasion. I shortened it some. But let's find out about some true gankers. You know, you walk up to this situation as an invader and it looks, you know, like a pretty typical gank. Little did I know that they have a... I don't know if he's over leveled, I don't remember when I killed him, maybe we can look a little later. But you got a mage spamming Star Shower. Oh, Star Shower. Star Shower... Here's my thing with it. I think it is useful because I want mages to have a place in competitive PvP. Like, obviously, if you just go into the arena and play a 2v2, no, really play a 3v3. Like, this is where mages excel, is the 3v3s in the arena. And that's really all they excel at, I think, right now. You can say otherwise, but you know, from what I've seen, mages really only have a good shot in a 3v3. And most of the ones that you fight in there are going to be light rolling, and that's a nightmare right now, but light roll's the real problem. But just a mage in general, you know, magic's... The problem with magic is, obviously it's based on FP. And most of these mage builds are pretty low health and defense stats, so they're easy to kill if you can get close to them. The problem is, how do you get close to them? Well, you get close to a mage basically by running sideways towards them. And when you run sideways at a mage, they can't hit you with any spell, you know, like Comet or any spell that fires a straight projectile. They could use, you know, a Duelist Moonblade, and you'll have to dodge. Oh no. So, as an invader, obviously, mages are annoying because if you're in a 2v1 or a 3v1, they can just be sitting in the background. You may not see them, and so they end up killing you. But in a 1v1 situation, mages are pretty weak right now. And so that's why I don't necessarily mind Star Shower, because it allows a mage to have something that actually puts pressure on other players. However, it should be doing chip damage. And I don't, you know, maybe this is a problem with how buffs can stack in this game. Maybe this is an over-leveled Phantom problem. You know, I don't know what it is, but Star Shower should never do something that does homing damage and is almost impossible to avoid unless you're Bloodhound stepping or light rolling. It should never take away half of your health bar. And this guy's Star Shower pretty much takes, if it was to all hit me, half of my health bar is gone, maybe more. And that's just ridiculous. So I'm all for mages having the ability to put pressure on someone with a spell that's maybe undodgeable, but it should be doing chip damage. You know, this is the same thing with Golem arrows. Golem arrows, I think, should exist. I think they should have, you know, I think everyone should be able to buy them. Oh, you gotta love this. The Phantom leaves and then comes back because they knew they were gonna get beat, which just becomes a nightmare. Oh, and they've cleared everyone out in this whole area, including the Rune Bear. So they even came up this sideways and cleared everything out. Clearly they've either been here a while or took forever to prep for this invasion. Gank. Just a nightmare. Anyway, so, you know, Golem arrows, I think they should be in the game. Like, they're obviously great. But if you're a strength build or a quality build shooting Golem arrows, you're doing more damage than if you use the jar cannon. and you're getting the AoE, which I guess is considered all physical damage, and you're getting much quicker recovery. So it literally makes the jar cannon have no purpose if golem arrows exist in the form they do today. So in my opinion, golem arrows definitely need a nerf. It's something I think everyone should be able to get golem arrows. You know, everyone's talking about maybe there'll be a rune shop kind of thing with some DLC. I think that's a great idea, because some of the consumables like rope and golem arrows and, you know, some of the other stuff are just impossible to farm. And I guess that's for good reason, because they're way overpowered right now. But golem arrows are kind of the same, so like they should exist. In my opinion, they should exist, but they should do a max. Like, you know, there should be a cap on damage for them, to where the AoE is doing like max, you know, 200 damage or something. You shouldn't be getting hit for 700 damage on an AoE great arrow that's basically impossible to dodge, and there's almost no recovery from the shooter, so you can't punish them at all. Like, that shouldn't be a thing. I'm fine with it adding pressure, but, you know, put a damage cap on it so it's not absurd like it is right now. And if you're one of the people that actually cheat and you know, either have items dropped to you or use a cheat engine of some kind to get your items, then you're the only one that actually gets golem arrows. Like, they're just a nightmare right now. But Star Shower is kind of the same to me. You know, a mage needs a tool that can allow them to pressure, you know, from a distance without just having to stray. Like, you don't even have to dodge the majority of a mage's attacks, aside from, you know, one of the sweeping greatsword, a duelist moonblade, whatever. So Star Shower, I think, should exist, but maybe there should be a damage cap on it, or the damage shouldn't stack on that. You know, there needs to be another solution here to where it's a good tool, but it's not overpowered. And maybe a lot of the things that stack are overpowered, obviously, but, you know, at least for the majority of the other things, you actually have to get within melee distance. Whereas Star Shower, you literally just press a button. There's nothing anyone can do unless they can hard swap to unless they had Bloodhound Step equipped, in which case they can rush you, but it may still hit you. I don't even know. I normally just try to dodge it, but it's just a nightmare. But this Ganks too. I love a gank, and I hate a gank. You know, everyone hates the gank in the moment, but if a gank didn't exist, invasions wouldn't be as fun. You know, when you kill a gank like this, that's clearly been camping here, ganking invaders, they've turned their taunter's tongue on, and now they've turned it off. So I don't know if they just, you know, they've got a summon so I could get summoned here. I don't know if they had the taunter tongue on originally, but obviously they've turned it off, because I never got another invader in 20 minutes. So they had turned it off either way. But you gotta love a gank, a planned gank, because yeah, they're frustrating. Yeah, you're gonna lose to them a lot of the times, but when you beat them, I don't know what they feel when you beat them. When I die to a planned, no enemy area gank, you know, yeah, I get frustrated, but I'm like, yeah, I mean, there was really no skill on your part. You just had more players. Like, wow, good job. And in this case, there's really no skill, because you got a guy just sitting there hitting L1, which is just a nightmare. I can't fight. You know, if I go and try to get him, I'm getting chip damage the whole way there, and then by the time I get to him, my health is gone. So I get jump attacked by his stupid host. And if not, if I try to fight the host, I'm just getting spammed by Star Shower. So this is just a nightmare situation. I should have done a better job maybe using cover and staying in the hallway or something. But, you know, what can you do? I tried to use these pillars as cover, but that didn't work, because you know, it's just not a small enough area. It's just too wide open. He can just walk to the side and get out of, you know, he can end up hitting me. But ganks, man, you hate them in the moment. You die to them a lot. But at the end of the day, if a gank didn't exist like this, invaders wouldn't have as much fun, because they wouldn't get the joy of killing this terrible gank and teabagging at the end. Best feature of Elden Ring, the teabag ability. Don't use it often, but this is just a prime time example. Oh look, Furlfinger left again. He ran out of magic. Probably, I don't know if I hit him or not, but he ran out of magic. Guess what, host? If you're on your own, you stand almost zero chance. I'm sure you were waiting to resummon, but you ain't gonna get that time. So this guy's also runed up, so not only does he have that advantage, he's ganking with the rune, and you know, just spamming R1. Sometimes you get hit by the R1 spammers because you're like, wow, they can't hit R1 again. Oh, but he did. He did. Look, there he goes, summoning again. You're not gonna get the chance, buddy. When you're on your own, you have no chance. This. Oh, just savor it. White mask. Someone that left twice and tried to come back. Oh. That victory is just so sweet. Spamming Star Shower. The worst nightmare ever. Yeah, so Star Shower, you know, I'm in favor of it. I think just to have some chip damage option, but it should have a cap on the damage, in my opinion. You can't have the damage that high on it to where it can take down, you know, a half to 3/4 of someone's health bar in one shot. That just shouldn't be a thing. But you know, that's why I've kind of got mixed opinions on it. You know, obviously Stars of Ruin was even worse back in, you know, original patch. I don't know when they actually patched that to where you can strafe it. That was obviously much needed because Stars of Ruin, you know, it's, I don't know, maybe a couple should hit you. I don't know if you should be able to 100% just strafe it. Maybe you should, but there definitely needs to be a spell that if you're a wizard in a 1v1, you have a chance. And back to kind of my original point when we started the video, like, here's the you know, all the good PvP players, most of them are playing melee builds, and that's obviously really good because you don't have to worry about your FP. Like, you've got physical damage. You know, the best ones are probably going to be physical damage because that actually hits a little harder. You know, you're never running out of FP to attack, whereas if a wizard runs out of FP, they're done. So they have to, one, invest in mind, and then, you know, two, if someone's just running to the side and strafing the entire time, a wizard has no option to actually do damage, and that's one of the reasons why you're really not seeing those builds in some of the tournaments that happen. Like, you may see some Ash of Wars that have intelligence stats, so whatever the carrion knives are that go over your head, that Ash of War is really good because you're getting constant chip damage, sometimes staggering the opponent. What that guy's doing, I don't know if that's necessarily the best one. Like, I think the good players use the one that does 4. So yeah, you're getting that chip damage, maybe staggering, and you're using a halberd or something, but you're still basically a melee build. You just got some int chip damage, you know, things. But you never actually see a caster in those duels. You know, you don't really see a Fate probably for the same reason, because if you ever run out of FP, you're toast, and there are no real spells that can. You're basically getting a guaranteed hit. Like, you can't really, it's hard to roll catch with a spell like you do with a melee build. So melee builds are just better in so many ways. Yeah, if you have some magic support, so you're using a little Ash of War here and a little spell there, that's a good combo, but it'd be fun to just see a caster in there, and that's why I think, you know, magic I don't think should be nerfed. Really, because everything's so easy to dodge in a 1v1. Like, you can't nerf things based on a 2v1 or a 3v1. Like, that should never happen. It should all be based on, in one-on-one combat, what happens. Because in a 2v1 or 3v1, like, that's not what the game should be based on. Like, yeah, it exists, How did that hit me, by the way?
Did that hit?
Ridiculous. Yeah, those, you know, obviously 2v1, 3v1 exists, and it's at a disadvantage for the invader. But the invader, as an invader, you should be much more skilled than the host, and even, you know, most likely the phantoms. And you should have practiced in certain situations, and you don't just go into the wide open and fight in a 2v1 or a 3v1. Like, yeah, maybe someone like Jeenine can do that, but everyone, you know, the majority of the other invaders, you're not going to be able to do that. Like, you need to have some strategy and lure people to certain areas, do damage from afar, and then, you know, finish people off here and there. And that's how you win invasions. And that's what makes them fun, is because it's not just run in, kill the person, and leave. Like, you know, a lot of people say, man, you should be able to invade single hosts, but that would get too easy for the invader, I think. I actually think the system is fine. You know, maybe you put in, if the host is ruined up, you could invade them, you know, similar to how it was in the Dark Souls games, where if they're embered up, you can invade them. But I don't know, I feel like that would almost be too easy for invaders and not as fun. Like, yeah, it gets frustrating in this, but use your tools. Like, use tools. You know, you can use this jar cannon, and it's obviously great, and you can buy unlimited great arrows for this with runes, so it's not a big deal. If you've got the great bow and golem arrows at this point, you know, like I said, I don't like them, but you can use those and try to, you know, do things. And if, you know, if you've got a gank here, you just got to figure out fun ways to try to get them in the right spots. And then, you know, you get them separated a little bit, and one dies easily, and the other one's going to die just as easily. So it's just fun in the end. Hey, God, that first invasion was just beautiful. Like and subscribe if you like the content, man. Adios.